Someone just tried the door. Hey!
They literally tried to get in the van.
But it sounds like a woman shouting or screaming.
They believed they were born superiors of survival, confident and fearless in facing anything that comes at them. But as night fell, everything changed, and the eerie silence of the wilderness wrapped around them. What began as an adventure quickly turned into something far more unsettling. Stay with us as we reveal the 6 most disturbing stealth camping encounters ever caught on camera. Starting off with Brendan James, creator behind the YouTube channel Brendan Explores. Brendan James has always been out venturing into unfamiliar territories, and in this particular video, he sets off to explore Jaywick, a town notorious for its reputation. What started as a routine adventure, however, turned into an unforgettable night of terror. The plan was simple. Brendan would visit Jaywick, stealth camp for the night, and continue his journey the next day. But what awaited him there would make him question everything he thought he knew about safety on the road.
Our park up for the evening is just around the corner, apparently. No way. Wants me to stay down here? Oh my god. Look at all that. Sounds like a flipping bonfire or something. In there. Looks like a few of these bins have been set on fire a few times. Look at the rubbish. Well, this is apparently where I'm supposed to be staying tonight, and I don't really feel safe staying here.
As Brendan approaches Jaywick, he surveys the area with a mix of curiosity and caution. The camera captures the rundown bungalows, the emptiness of the streets, and the sense that something just isn't right. He pulls up to his parking spot, still unsure about the place, but determined to continue.
I'm very aware that I don't really want anyone to see me logging or setting up camp for the night. We'll go and see what the restrictions are in this parking spot, but I feel a lot safer here than I would have done at St. Christopher's Way. That looked like a bit of a dodgy street, that. First off, let's go and check what the parking restrictions are, see if we can stay here overnight.
Brendan begins setting up camp for the night, trying to make the most of the situation. The sun is starting to set, and there's a strange quiet in the air. He checks the area once again, looking for any signs of movement. Though he's unsettled, he dismisses the feeling and continues preparing dinner.
Look at that! Is by far, hands down, the best meal I've cooked in this van.
As Brendan cooks, his senses are on high alert. He stares out the window, trying to shake off the growing sense of unease, and somehow he pushes it aside, focusing on the meal in front of him. His instincts, however, urged him to make a decision that, in hindsight, he would come to regret more than anything.
When I started cooking dinner, there was a few cars parked around me. There was a van over there. And now I am the only one in this car park, and I wonder why. I'm going to follow my gut instinct. I'm not parking here tonight. Just got a funny feeling about it. And I think when you have that feeling, best thing you can do is move on. Right, okay. I'll look for park for night. Find a lovely little spot that isn't too far from where I am right now, and see if I can get my head down for the night. I don't think I'm going to be able to relax properly here.
Seeing no one around, his instincts grew sharper, urging him to move the campsite to a safer location. But what awaited him there was far more malicious than he could have ever imagined.
Right, after traipsing around for the last 20 minutes to half hour trying to find a spot, there's apparently a quiet little park up at the end here, maybe. This'll do me. I'm alone, but I mean there's no other houses around me, so it's not as if I'm alone in a housing estate. It is literally pitch black. I don't think you can see much out there, but it's absolutely dead quiet. But thank you ever so much for joining me. I will bring you back in the morning and I'll show you a proper look at this place. Couldn't really see much when it's pitch black, but yeah. I appreciate you joining me for this adventure. I hope you've enjoyed the video so far, and stick around next week as we explore a couple more places on our way back to Shrewsbury. I'll see you in the morning. I think someone's outside the van. +2. Someone just tried the door. Hey!
As he drifts into a seemingly peaceful sleep, the faintest of footsteps reach his ears, barely audible at first, then growing louder, more deliberate just outside the van. Brendan's anxiety spikes. His gaze darts around the interior, realizing that the van's solitude is its only shield. Then, the handle rattles. The van shudders ever so slightly as someone attempts to force their way in. Suddenly, the cold, sharp sound of glass shattering pierces the silence, splintering the night with a jolt of terror.
Right, whoever the that was has now gone. I'm gonna get out of here. Oh my god. Where's my phone?
His mind struggles to process the chaos that just unfolded. Adrenaline surges through his veins as he steps outside, only to be met with the sight of the window, now broken. Without a second thought, he races to his van, the engine roaring to life as he speeds away, not daring to glance back, terrified of what might be waiting in the shadows.
But what happened directly after the last clip? Well, to say I was scared, you-know-whatless, would be an understatement. I wasn't exactly concentrating on, should I film this, should I film that, so there wasn't really a lot to film afterwards. I just, quite frankly, just wanted to go home. I was really, I wasn't in a good mind space. After cleaning a little bit of broken glass from my driver's seat and the dashboard, you'd be surprised how far glass goes when it smashes. I've been finding little bits everywhere, but the van was in no fit state to continue camping in, and nor was my headspace, should we say. So I made the long journey back home, but I eventually got home. I was able to do a makeshift repair on the window for a few hours before it got repaired, and put a couple of bin bags with some masking tape or duct tape or gaffer tape, whatever it is. I personally think they saw the fridge covered up in the front. After trying the side door and seeing that they couldn't get in, obviously the curtains were closed, so they can't see inside, although I did see a couple of flashes of a bit of a torch. But they probably saw inside the front cab, saw the curtain covering this huge box, and I can only assume they thought it was a toolbox or something, and decided to put the window in.
Finally, Brendan arrives home, but the night doesn't feel over. He cleans the broken glass, but the sense of unease doesn't leave. The fear lingers in the back of his mind, and he wonders if he'll ever truly feel safe again. He reflects on the events of the night, realizing that Jaywick, for all its bad reputation, became something darker in his memory. Though Brendan James made it home safe that night, the question remains unanswered. Who was out there in the dark, watching and waiting? Meet Sean, the creator behind the YouTube channel Love Sundays. His videos document the beauty and adventure of van life, often showcasing peaceful nights spent in quiet, scenic locations. But one night, while camping in Cornwall, Sean would experience the terrifying side of life on the road, reminding him just how vulnerable one can be when the sun goes down. The adventure began as Sean found what he thought was the perfect spot for the night in Cornwall. However, his initial excitement was quickly tempered by a nearby sign restricting overnight parking for camper vans. Deciding to take the risk, he committed to being as discreet as possible, hoping to go unnoticed until morning.
I'm just trying to work out what this sign means. So it says, parking for cars, midnight to 9 AM, 1st of May to the 30th of September. This isn't a camper van, but it is a van. If I'm going to stay here, I'm going to have to be really, really quiet about it. Not make it obvious that I'm going to be staying in the van. So I'm going to pull the blinds across now, and then probably just get in the back and just stay back there.
To avoid drawing any attention, he pulled his blinds shut, cooked his dinner inside the sweltering van with all the doors closed, and planned to remain hidden for the rest of the night.
Okay, so for tonight, here's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. Is I'm not going to pull the bed out, so that if I do get asked to move on or anything in the night, then I can just get up and go, essentially. I'm going to cook my dinner inside the van with all the doors and windows shut, because I don't really want to bring attention to myself, because if somebody walks past that lives here and they see that I'm cooking with the door open, then they're going to think that I'm probably going to be staying here overnight. To put on top, do you know what? I'm so sweaty. I knew I said I wouldn't do it, and I knew I said I wouldn't go back outside, but I might have to just go and eat this out there. I'll walk away from the van so no one knows that I'm here.
Despite his best efforts to stay inside, the intense heat became unbearable, forcing him to take his meal and eat it outside, away from the van, to maintain his stealthy presence.
I am going to go outside though, just to check to see how well the blackout curtain's working. I don't want to have all the lights on in here if you can see any form of light peeking out through the curtains. Okay, so I'm outside. It's pretty dark, as you can see. Really dark, actually. I'm just going to turn the lights on. Let's just see what we can see. So, if you ask me, that looks pretty dark. Okay, I need to get back in the van before people notice. Okay, so this is my bedtime routine when I'm in the van. 1, lock the doors. 2, keep my keys ready just in case I need to get up in the night and just go. So they're going to be left.
As night fell, Sean performed his final checks. Satisfied, he returned inside and began his bedtime routine, locking the doors and placing his keys within arm's reach for a quick escape if needed. With all precautions taken, he settled in for the night, completely unaware of the terror that was about to unfold.
I just heard something outside.
Okay, I think they've gone. They literally tried to get in the van. It wasn't just a knocking, they were trying the handle.
In the dead of night, Sean was violently jolted from his sleep. A loud, aggressive sound echoed from just outside his door. It wasn't just a simple knock. He heard the distinct sound of the handle being forcefully tried again and again. Someone was actively attempting to break into the van.
was pounding then. I mean, they were either trying to move me on or trying to break into the van. Either way, not pleasant.
Frozen in terror. After a few agonizing moments, the sound stopped, and the intruders seemed to have gone. Shaken, he slowly peered outside but saw nothing and no one, leaving him alone with his fear.
That knock last night could have been a number of things. It could have simply been somebody trying to break into the van. It does look like a builder's van kind of from the outside, so they might have been trying to break in and get some tools, but then if that was the case, then they probably wouldn't have just tried the doors. I tried to be really stealthy and not let anyone know that I was staying in it, but you know, maybe it's the roof deck that gives me away now. But I'm not getting rid of the roof deck, because mornings like this are just fantastic.
Although he remained in the van for the rest of the night, the unsettling question remained. Who had tried to break in? Were they locals trying to scare him off? Or were they thieves who thought the van was full of tools? Fortunately, Sean's simple precaution of locking his doors was enough to keep him safe from whatever nightmare awaited on the other side. One thing is certain, that terrifying night in Cornwall will serve as a permanent, chilling reminder of the hidden dangers of life on the road. Meet Carl, the creator behind the YouTube channel, Welcome to the Woods UK. His content typically offers a peaceful escape into nature, showcasing the tranquility of the forest. However, a series of unsettling events began to unfold, turning his sanctuary into a place of fear and uncertainty, forcing him to confront a threat he never anticipated. The unsettling saga began when the creator realized his woodland was being visited by an intruder.
We'll know that I've had some sort of intruder in this wood. I'm on the south side of the property today at the furthest point. I've been through the woodland checking on my trail cams. Last week I did have one trail cam go missing. Can't find hiding a hair of it. Not even the strap was left on the tree. So that's just come up missing. It's almost as if someone's unstrapped it and took it with them, like, 'cause obviously they've been caught out or something. All of the other trail cams though are still in situ. I've got a great deal planned for this video, so I have actually got a couple of experimental things that I want to try. I do want to try and set up that sort of dummy camp a couple of 100 yards away from me whilst I'm set up in a stealthy camp, and I'll have my night vision binoculars trained onto where the camp is. Just put a little cob light or something inside and see if anyone does pass by, because that last camp that I did have was pretty chilling.
The feeling of being watched was confirmed when one of his trail cameras vanished without a trace. Not even the strap was left behind. Determined to identify the trespasser, he turned to aerial surveillance, using his drone to scan the vast property.
So for the last 2.5 weeks, I have been using my drone for aerial surveillance on this. Might sound funny, but it can actually cover a big area, and it can see a lot wider vision than what I can be in the woods on the floor.
For over 2 weeks, his search yielded nothing, until one day, the drone captured something that sent a chill down his spine.
2.5 weeks in, I did catch something that did catch my attention.
The unmistakable figure of a person moving through the trees where no one should be. Concerned for his safety and determined to reclaim his property, he hatched a clever plan.
So the drone footage was concerning in the fact that there shouldn't have been anyone else in the woodland, and you can quite clearly see some sort of figure of a person walking from one side of the clearing to the other. They don't seem to have any recognition that the drone's there. Although the drone was going quite fast, I obviously slowed it down just so you could see the detail. Going to spend the last weekend here before the spring comes. I want to take the stovepipe and the log burner out and give it a good clean once I'm finished in here this weekend.
Taking inspiration from a viewer's suggestion, he decided to set up a decoy camp.
So we are off tonight to do a stealth camp in that area. We've had all that problem at that woodland. It was left in the comments of the last video, and I thought it was a pretty good comment, to be fair, to set up a decoy camp a couple of 100 yards away from where I'm going to be stealth camping. And then basically keep an eye on it with night vision equipment and hit the record button if it's needed.
The idea was to create a visible, inviting campsite a few hundred yards from his own position. He would then retreat to a hidden, stealthy location armed with night vision binoculars and wait.
As you can see, once you're shut inside, it is quite cosy. This is just a test on the Decoy, which is a good 120 yards off the edge of the woodland.
As the night grew deeper, the creator watched the Decoy camp, his senses on high alert. He carefully positioned a small light inside the tent to act as a beacon, hoping to attract the intruder's attention.
I'm going to keep this light as low as I can. But it sounds like a woman shouting or screaming. Jesus. Jesus. The hell is that? What the hell is that?
Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed from the direction of the Decoy camp. Before he could process the sound, an even more terrifying noise pierced the night. Frozen in place, he tried to comprehend the horrific sound that echoed through his woodland. He immediately switched to his night vision, desperately scanning the darkness.
Switch over to night vision, 1 second.
To his surprise, there was nothing there. The woods fell silent once more, leaving him with a profound sense of dread. He spent the rest of the night on edge, but the chilling scream was the last unexplained event he would experience.
Well, I must say I have no rational explanation for what the noises were last night, but that was where it ended. There was no more noises or anything like that, thank God. That's not to say there isn't a reasonable explanation for it. It might be an animal that I just haven't heard before. I can't think of what one. So I'm definitely up for camping in this spot again, but next time I'm going to actually bring a tent with me and a few more sort of creature comforts with me and have a bit more of a good time rather than sitting in a little corner huddled up.
The next morning, he was left with no rational explanation for what he had heard. While he initially set out to catch a human trespasser, he was left with a far more terrifying mystery. Was the scream a twisted tactic used by the intruder, or was it something ancient and malevolent that calls the woods its home? Though he plans to return, the memory of that night will forever haunt him. This is Will, the creator behind the YouTube channel Will's Whereabouts. He documents his stealth camping missions across the UK, finding peace in remote and beautiful locations. One evening, in a place he thought he knew well, he would be reminded that you are never truly alone, and some encounters are best avoided. The journey began in a familiar place, a National Trust car park at Box Hill in the south of the UK. After cooking a meal with a friend and enjoying a walk, Will found his spot for the night, ready to settle in.
I think this will do for tonight's stealth camping. Anyway guys, welcome back to another video. Earlier, as you saw, I cooked and had some delicious fajitas with a friend of mine. We went for a walk and then we were starving hungry, so I ended up having a nice early dinner, used my outside cooking platform, which a lot of you guys probably haven't seen because, to be honest, I haven't used it a lot because the weather just hasn't been nice for it.
He spoke to the camera about his setup, feeling comfortable in an area he had known for years. The location seemed perfect, tucked away next to a dense forest, offering the peace and quiet he was looking for.
Anyway, as I was saying, I am in a very familiar place. I actually used to live in this area with my parents a good few years ago now, and I used to work at a restaurant just round the corner, which is where I had my first ever job when I was about, how old? 16, 17 years old. Nah, what's this plonker doing? I'm in the beautiful countryside of Box Hill, which is in the Surrey Hills in the south of the UK. Tonight I'm actually going to be sleeping in the National Trust car park.
As darkness fell, however, the first signs of unease began to appear. The quiet was occasionally broken by the sound of cars doing donuts nearby, a stark reminder that he wasn't as isolated as he had hoped.
I'm literally parked as far back into the forest as I can. There's a few other cars in this National Trust car park. I think there's probably people just having sex in cars. Time to lock this front door because I don't want anyone thinking that I'm here for a good time when all I really want to do is just go to sleep. The only door that isn't locked is the boot because I can't lock it.
He continued his preparations, trying to ignore the distant noise, but revealed a critical flaw in his security. The boot of his car couldn't be locked. This single vulnerability left him exposed, a fact that would become terrifyingly relevant as the night wore on.
I don't think I'm going to be getting much sleep tonight. There are people about 100 meters away, blazing music out. At least some good songs anyway. And some people screaming. Wish me luck, everybody.
Just as he was trying to drift off to sleep, the fragile piece of the car park was violently shattered. Suddenly, a group of people appeared just 100 meters away, their presence announced by music blasting into the silent forest. Trapped in his car, the music wasn't the most terrifying part. Through the noise, he could hear people screaming. He was left to wonder about the nature of those sounds, hoping he would remain unnoticed.
Morning, guys. You probably wouldn't believe that it is actually 7:30 and it's pitch black outside. Decided to get the gas stove warmed up just to take the chill out the air and get a bit warmer because it's freezing. Right now it's 1 degree and it certainly felt like that in the middle of the night, but it wasn't actually too bad because I sort of cocoon myself underneath the sleeping bag.
After what felt like an eternity, the noise eventually died down. Will spent a restless and freezing night, the temperature dropping to 1 degree. When he finally woke at 7:30 a.m., the world outside was still pitch black. The only sounds now were the birds, a stark contrast to the chaos from just a few hours earlier.
In the car park, the sun is just starting to come up, which I'll show you in a second. You can hear the birds actually.
Although Will made it through the night unharmed, the experience left a lingering sense of dread. Who were those people, and what was the reason for their screams in the dead of night? It was a chilling reminder that even in a familiar place, danger can appear without warning, proving that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones you can hear just outside your door. Meet Noah, the man behind his self-titled channel. This guy wasn't planning on filming. A recent and deeply unsettling experience compelled him to turn on his camera and share his story. A few days prior, Noah was camping in Sun River, Oregon, when he found what he believed to be a perfect, isolated spot in a forest area to park his truck and sleep for the night. He thought he was completely alone, but he would soon discover that someone was watching him, waiting for him to fall asleep.
So I was originally not gonna make this video just because I don't really have my setup or anything yet. But a few days ago I was camping in Sun River, and what I thought would be a good location to pull over to the side of the road in like this forest area and sleep which I thought no one was really around, turned into someone trying to creep on me.
The chilling part of his story is that he managed to capture GoPro footage of the incident. While the video itself is dark and difficult to make out, the audio tells a terrifying story.
I'm currently sleeping in the back of my truck right now. I don't even know what time it is. And there's someone walking around my truck right now. If you can hear that, it's pretty loud. He's been walking around for like 20 minutes already. My gun's in my cab though. I don't really know what to do. I'm a little freaked out right now, and it's like pitch black outside, probably like 2 in the morning, and he just keeps walking around.
You can hear the sounds of someone lurking outside his truck, their presence turning Noah's peaceful night into a waking nightmare as he realized someone was actively trying to creep on him while he was vulnerable inside.
He's literally touching my truck. How am I supposed to get him away? He's literally knocking. He's literally knocking on my truck. The canopy, the back door's locked. I've never been scared before ever. I don't think he knows that there's anyone in here. I'm so scared right now. I wish I brought my gun back here. He keeps walking around. I don't get it. I'm like, how is he not? I've noticed. Doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna try to see if he goes away eventually. We'll see. He's literally peeking through the door right now.
He might not have captured any figures on camera, but the sounds told the story themselves. The banging was loud enough to shake the air, and the footsteps were unmistakably human. It wasn't until the next day, back in the safety of his home, that the full, horrifying extent of the previous night's events became clear.
So I'm back home. This is the day after. He was trying to peek in my truck quite a bit with all these marks. I didn't even notice until I got home. Handprints there, a lot of scratches, stuff like that. Dragging his finger on my side of my truck. Well, looks like to be trying to get inside my truck. That's really all I could tell from when he was walking around. That's new. Don't know how that got there. More handprints trying to get in my truck. At least the back canopy was locked, but yeah, that was the result.
As he inspected his truck, he found haunting evidence of the stranger's attempts to get inside. The stranger had been methodically trying to find a way into his truck. The discovery of the physical evidence left Noah shaken, cementing the experience as the single most terrifying camping trip of his entire life. Although he was safe, it still serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most dangerous monsters aren't spirits or creatures of folklore, but the people who lurk in the shadows. The YouTube channel Sort of Interesting, run by Dan Brown, normally captures the quiet beauty of the great outdoors, scenic riverside meals, cozy nights under the stars, and a deep appreciation for nature. But one evening, a video would reveal that even the most peaceful settings can hide a dark, unnerving threat lurking just beneath the surface. The evening began perfectly. The creator arrived at a secluded riverside location, an ideal spot that seemed well hidden despite being near a popular walking path.
How good is this little area here? Nice and open, a good amount of flat space, somewhere that there's an unbelievable amount of people walking around. Even now, it's nicely sheltered, especially well hidden and camouflaged when you come down to waist height and below. Got a lot of good trees growing.
He found a flat, sheltered area camouflaged by trees and downed wood, and set down some of his gear to lighten his load before heading to the riverbank for dinner.
I swear 2 people have already been within very close proximity. I don't think they've seen me, because why would they? Who would even look in here for someone? But I'm being very, very cautious.
As he settled in, he was keenly aware of just how many people were still around, a detail that was slightly more than he had anticipated. This subtle feeling of being exposed planted the first seed of unease in what should have been a tranquil evening.
Okay, friends, there is definitely somebody about here. Yeah. So you might be able to see there is somebody walking towards us.
Later that night, after setting up his bivvy, his unease grew. Hearing noises and seeing torchlights in the distance, he decided to cautiously investigate.
Okay, things have gone a little bit wrong at the moment, but I'm still quite upbeat about the situation. Nothing serious, but quite comical. So I thought I'd go out and have a look at what was going on around in the main walk-in area, because there were a few torches going by and there'd been some noises and rustling in the woodland that I didn't think anybody would be in. So I thought I'll go out and just have a nose around. So you might have seen that little glimpse of lights that were heading towards me. As I was focused on them way across a field or two, I almost jumped out of my skin because a dog walker came down behind me. So in a bit of a panic, to make sure they didn't think that I was milling around in that particular area, I had to immediately start walking in the exact opposite way of the bivvy.
As he watched a light in a far-off field, a dog walker appeared suddenly behind him, forcing him into a panicked retreat in the opposite direction of his camp. Now, not only was he exposed, but a thought had filled him with a growing sense of dread already.
I've 100% been spotted. Right, I'm trying to keep calm and keeping calm. I'm almost too scared to breathe here. I think a dog or something just came in. Oh, that's right, they're looking straight at me. Right, I'm trying not to panic.
Back in the relative safety of his bivvy, the situation took a terrifying turn. He was jolted from a light sleep, not by a distant torch, but by loud, animal-like rustling right outside his camp. His heart pounded as he realized with absolute certainty that he had been spotted. A bright light was now shining directly on him. Trying to remain calm, he could see the light fixed on his position. He called out a simple, "Hello," into the darkness, hoping for a harmless explanation. The response he received was pure unnerving silence. The light simply went out, plunging him back into darkness and leaving his mind to race with every terrible possibility of who was out there and what they wanted.
If this was somebody who was just trying to scare me and just mess with me a little bit, then it was a stroke of absolute genius to not respond to my hello and simply turn their light out, because that set my mind racing into every possibility of where they might be. The only thing I knew for certain was that they hadn't entered the woodland, because there were so many dried leaves and sticks it would be impossible for them to move silently around me. However, not knowing where they were or where they'd gone, I thought the only sensible choice is to clear off. In hindsight, the fact that I didn't hear any voices before or after suggests it was definitely only one person out there.
Terrified by the silence, he knew he couldn't stay. Scrambling in the pitch black, he hastily packed his belongings, his only thought being to escape the unseen threat that was watching from the shadows. Who was watching him from the darkness? Was it a curious walker, or someone with far more sinister intentions? The simple act of turning off a light in response to his greeting transformed it into a chilling reminder that when you're alone in the woods, you can never be certain who or what is watching. And that's it for tonight's video. If these encounters prove anything, it's that stealth camping isn't dangerous because of the wilderness. It's dangerous because of who might be sharing it with you. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, subscribe, and check out the cards on screen for more disturbing encounters caught on camera. And as always, stay sharp out there. Once the dark closes in, you're never as alone as you think.